Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last episode we made a lot of progress in our fall quest line of EA Farm. We got all of the gummies created that we need for the fall quests. That means we're a little over halfway through all of fall at this point. Today, we are going to be setting up a new automated farm and then moving on to another set of recipes. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. So we are back out here at our automated farm setup. I've expanded the fence line considerably to give us a little more room to work because we need to set up a new automated farm. Now, today we are going to set up a farm for cocoa beans. We had originally just done the twerk to grow over there with our cocoa beans, but coming up in the very near future, we are going to be needing a lot of cocoa because we're going to have a chocolate factory. Yes, we are making a great chocolate factory. We probably won't make a glass elevator though. So that's going to be needed for our winter quest lines, but it takes a long time for this to actually produce anything for us. So we are just going to get started with it now and see how far we get so that we can have a whole bunch of cocoa ready to go for us. Now, I'd already pulled off another set of our shafts from our main gear setup so that we can start running our power down and into this system. I think maybe we go back a little bit further than that. Let's go here, and we're gonna actually drive this into the ground. So let's go ahead and grab up our shafts, and we are gonna go down with this. Now, what we wanna do is actually put this at a level where we can actually start messing with it. We don't have to go underground for this because nothing is going to be growing on dirt. So we actually can just kind of stop right there. And then we can come over with our shafts. Now we're going to have a turntable that's going up vertically here, but we need to give ourselves enough room to maneuver around it. So I think right about there is going to be good. We do want to grab up our mechanical bearing here, not turntable, and we need to rotate this just like so. Okay, that means that our power is now stopped. We are gonna have to add some more water wheels here. We'll just come over here and buy ourselves up a couple of large water wheels here. That should be easy enough for us. We can plonk these right on the side of our existing water wheels, and that should give us plenty of power now. Back at base, we can start actually setting this thing up. So what we want to do is have a multi-tiered system here. I'm going to use a linear chassis array for this. I think that's the simplest way to do that. So let's just go up just like this, and we can start putting these down. Now, I think we'll just go like, whoop, not like that, directly up with it. All right, so there's our chassis stack, and now we can start hooking things up to it. So we are gonna need a portable storage interface, first of all. So we're gonna put one here, and it looks like I once again pointed it the wrong direction, just like that. Put another one here, right behind that, and that is pointing the correct direction. Okay, and items are gonna be pulled out of that, so that should work for us here. Now, going up from this, we are going to need to start assembling our jungle logs to grow things off of. Now, if you follow Hollow, they've been making videos for a really long time, and this is a layout for a factory that I saw them do, oh, how long ago was it? I feel like it was years ago, maybe like 2 years ago. This design that I'm going to be using for this factory, they put together. So I cannot claim that this is my own design. What we're going to do is come up here, just like so, with our jungle logs. And I think I might actually want to go even higher than that with these. I think 3 is not nearly tall enough. So let's go ahead and grab up a few more chassis. All right, so there are our jungle logs. These are then going to get our mechanical harvesters on them right up the side here, just like this. All right, so we're gonna start with 6 mechanical harvesters, and now we can put our cocoa beans along the inside of these, just like so. Nope, not the outside, the inside only, please. And that will grow our cocoa beans along these faces here. Now, that will allow us to then pull all of those off with the mechanical harvester when they are ripe. So pretty straightforward concept. We just need to get all of these in place. Now, I like this layout where we're powering it from the bottom because that means that we can continue to grow this vertically however tall we want. In fact, I might go ahead and upgrade this immediately to something like a 16 tall one or something. Now, this last side we can't do until we actually have it running because these harvesters are actual physical blocks at this point and they'll have nowhere to go. So the last thing we need to do here is use our item pipes to pull our various items back out of this system. Now, I'm going to get a little fancy with this. Occasionally, harvesters will drop things and they will not go where we want them to go. They'll just get dropped on the floor instead. That's less than ideal. So in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to use some actual hoppers to get things moved to where we want them to go. So we're going to put a pipe right here, just like that. And then we're going to dig up a small area right around the base of this. So any items that fall through these shafts should then go into the hoppers that are going to be at the bottom here. As we've seen on those fields there, that's been a problem, is that items are just left kind of languishing in the field. So we're going to go all the way around this and make sure that these get sucked in to that main hopper right here. Perfect. All right. Now all that we have to do is go and wrench this so that it knows to pull out. Okay, so anything that falls in here should now get sucked into this pipe. Now, this pipe is going to connect up with the other pipe, which is going to be coming off of the bottom of this, just like so. We're going to wrench that as well. We do want to set this to have a upgrade. I think we're going to use Ultimate just to make sure that it doesn't take too long. We had this previously filtered for slime balls. We don't need to do that anymore. So let's go ahead and pull that out. And now we can run these pipes back somewhere else where we want to actually get our items out. And I think we're going to run them into this main line here at some point in the near future. So let's actually go ahead and do that. Let's pull all of these off just like so to this pipe system here, and it looks like we got an extra piece of dirt broken. All right, and before I actually hook this up, I do want to go over here and set up the drawer that these are going to go into. So let's come right over here. We will go ahead and put the drawer, let's say right here. And for this to now work, we are going to have to pipe it up. This could be a good time to go ahead and buy one of our, the drawer controllers, but we don't actually need one because just one piece of pipe is massively cheaper than a whole drawer controller. Let's make sure that the linking tool is set to locking instead. We will put in some of our cocoa beans and then we'll lock it up tight. Pick this up, put it back into the array. There we go. This is now going to dump in here as soon as we hook up this section over here. So let's run our pipe. And of course, we can test this out real quick. We can just throw a couple in here, and if that did its job properly, this should now be showing that there are 2 in here. 4 in there, excuse me, I threw more than I thought. Okay, great. So that is indeed working. All right, so if we did everything properly, all we have to do is right-click this, and we should be off to the races. Yep, that is working. The one thing that is not working, of course, and you all can see it as well as I do, we did not glue this piece in. So I thought that this would attach here to our chassis. It did not, but that's not a problem here. We can go and grab our super glue out of our pack. Where is our super glue? I am just blind. Oh, it's already in our hand, that's why. And now we just link this together. Okay, so if that worked, this should now be rotating. It collects here and everything should fall out nicely. Work to grow, and yes, it is grabbing them up and it is replanting them, which is exactly what we want because harvesters leave the original. That is fantastic. All right, let me expand this real quick to make it much taller, and we will meet back in a second. All right, and there is our massive 16 tall factory for our cocoa beans. This is just a huge thing. That's 64 individual cocoa beans there. Now, one problem is that occasionally they are falling through the side here, so we're gonna have to close this in real fast. All right, now we've framed it in with our zinc windows here, some zinc trapdoors, and made ourselves a frame glass trapdoor enclosure at the bottom. That's helping a little bit. It's not 100% though. I think when we get the ability to actually use like a vacuum hopper or whatever it is in this pack, I honestly don't remember even though I made the pack, we will then be getting a lot more because we can suck them in if they fall on the floor accidentally. But so far, yeah, we're getting a decent number. That's 230, well, it's still going up. We're getting hundreds of cocoa beans effectively, and that's a really good place to be. Did you know that only about 10% of viewers ever make it to the first 5 minutes of the video? So if you're still watching at this moment, I'd really appreciate it if you take a second and click that like button, maybe subscribe if you haven't already, and also think about leaving me a nice little comment and tell me what do you think of this build and what we're doing today. Really helps to boost the channel a little bit, and I really appreciate it. Now, back to the building. Now that did, however, put a significant damper on our monetary situation, so we need to go ahead and make up some new sources of income here real quick. I think what we're gonna do is start on our jams and whatnot, but first we need to make some berries and cream. Those of you who follow the streamer Fluxo, you may know that this is one of his favorite dishes. It's not actually one of his favorite dishes, but it's a whole thing. Anyways, memes aside, we are gonna make a bunch of berries and cream. This is easy enough. We need a lot of soy milk, we're gonna need some sugar, and we are going to need some berries, and we can mix all of those together to make our berries and cream. Back at base, I had made up a whole bunch more soy milk for us, so we have that to use. You'll also notice the little brass catwalk stairs I added in here just to make this look a little nicer. So we're gonna pull in our soy milk into our basin here. Then all we need to do is add our berries and our sugar and pull those out of the chest. With any luck, as soon as that sugar comes in, it'll start mixing this up, and there we go. That should start making our berries and cream for us. Let's take a look here. Yes, there we go. All right, so in just a second, we will have 64 berries and cream. While that's going on, we need to make our various jams and preserves. So I think we're gonna start with some strawberry jam. That's easy enough to make here and get bottled. We need to first go ahead and mix up our strawberries with sugar and water to make that. So a little bit of a different recipe here than we've used before. That means we are going to need a boatload of strawberries. So we are going to need 4 stacks of strawberries. We're also going to need 4 stacks of blueberries and sweet berries, followed by grapes and oranges. And I'm going to go get twerking on that right now. Alright, berries and cream are indeed done here, so we are good on that front. Let's pull back off our soy milk, put that back there, and then we just need to gather up the remaining soy milk out of our basin to put inside. Wonderful. Now, so you may recall that an episode ago, maybe it was 2 episodes ago now, that I had set up an infinite water source down below here so that we can just pull this directly into our tank like so. This makes it really efficient when we are doing any recipes involving water, such as jam. So we can use this now to create our jam ingredients. Looks like I screwed that up again. Okay, great. Let's put the chest here, and then we're going to start automating our jam bits. So for jam, first we're going to need strawberry, then blueberry, and then sweet berry, and then grape and orange finally. So let's get started on our strawberry jam. We'll go here to our ingredients, and we will grab up all of our strawberries. We'll put these into this container, and then they just need 1 stack of sugar, just like so. That should work fine for us. Okay, wonderful. We are going to start putting a couple of fluid pipes on here, but we're going to make sure that this does not connect to this basin because we want to put the fluid back into a fluid drawer. It looks like we are finally out of fluid drawers. I bought a lot a while back, but it doesn't appear that we have any left, so let's go ahead and buy up 1 more fluid drawer so that we can put our outputs somewhere here, just like this. Fluid drawers are about halfway down this list, right there. Okay, great. And we're gonna put this here, and then our fluid is actually going to be pulling out from the top, just like this. So first things first, let's get our jam going. We grab our charcoal and we heat this up, and now this should make up our jam. Let me go ahead and unwrench this for a second because we want this to be as much jam as possible here so that we can lock this drawer with it. So let's go ahead and grab 1 bucket of jam out of there, put this into the tank, and now when we pull out of here, it will only pull jam into the tank, just like that. Okay, great. Now we should be able to reconfigure this to pull water, and this will continue making all of our strawberry jam for us. All right, 16 buckets of strawberry jam complete. Wonderful. We will need to go and buy up, what, 4 more of these drawers? So let's go ahead and buy up a bunch more fluid drawers while we are at it so we can get started on the rest of these. And actually, we won't buy up more than this. Let's just buy up this amount because what we want to do here is make sure that we're not overdoing it. We only can do 1 ingredient at a time anyways in our bottling station, so there's no need to do more than just 2. Let's see here. So that's going to be strawberry jam. Let's go on to blueberry jam next. So let's grab up all of our blueberries here from our stash. just like so. And again, our sugar goes in there with it. Let's make sure that that is prioritized up. And there we go. Now we are getting our blueberry jam, and we'll just do exactly the same thing as we did before here. All right, back at our bottling factory, we should be able to start pulling our jam into, our spout just like that. And all we're missing now is a whole bunch of bottles. So let me put a stack in here, and this should start making up our strawberry jam. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna let that go for a while, and we'll be back to catch it later. All right, strawberry jam is now done. We can pull off our fluid drawer here, and then we can move on to our blueberry jam just like so. We just need to grab up our bottles here and add these in, and blueberry jam will be done momentarily. I have the sweet berry jam going in our facility next door. All right, and there are all of our jams now complete. Wonderful. Now, the next thing that we're going to need to do here is actually use some of these to make some cheesecake. So let's take a look at that real quick. We can actually sell off the grape jam, the orange jam, and our berries and cream. Orange jam we're going to sell. 16 is not bad. 16 copper coins, I will take it. And then berries and cream, berries and cream. Where did I put the berries and cream? Right in front of me. Great, 8 copper coins for that. So the remaining ones we are going to use here for these 3 types of cheesecake. For that, we are going to need to make an uncooked cheesecake, so that's in our recipes here. That means we need both pie crust, which uses soy milk and wheat flour, and we're also going to need to make cheesecake mix, which is going to be soy milk, sugar, eggs. In this case, we are going to be using our silicon tofu and lime juice. Not a lot of lime juice, just a little lime juice. So let's go ahead and drain off the remaining of our jams here. And those will go into our system as soon as we make space available for them. So we're going to change this from locking to adding. So we're going to link to these 3 containers just like that. That's our sweet berry jam coming in there. And then the other containers will gather the other ingredients. Now we are going to need some lime juice. So let's go ahead and take a fluid drawer here, not a lot like I said, and we're just going to grab ourselves up a couple of buckets of lime juice. So we are going to need 3 stacks of pie crust for this. So we are going to add all of our wheat flour in here, and that should start making up a lot of our pie crusts. So slowly but surely, our pie crusts are going to be coming in. All right, there are our pie crusts ready to go, and we are ready to move on to the next stage here, which is making our cheesecake filling. So I went over to our tofu facility and I gathered up every last bit of soy milk that we had over there. I'm actually just going to store the pie crusts here temporarily until we're ready to come back to them. So that's what we're going to use here for this recipe. Now we need to add in our various ingredients here. So let's add our silken tofu. Actually, we need a lot more silken tofu than that. That is only a stack right there. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 3. Okay, we're going to need 3 stacks of sugar. Then the other ingredients here, what am I missing? I think just lime juice and soy milk, right? Okay, great. So let's grab our soy milk here, and we're going to do this a little weird. We're going to put the containers a little further out here so it doesn't conflict with this water pipe. We'll put the soy milk there, and we'll start wrenching this out. And then last but not least, we will grab our lime juice and put it here, and we'll start wrenching this out. Okay. So if all of that is going properly, yeah, you can see we are getting cheesecake mix now into this container. So to get that back out, oh, don't start making something else. Don't want you to make anything else. Oh, we accidentally made a little bit of lime ice cream mix. That's not a big problem. We can certainly work around that, but we do need to lock this real fast. And we will need to pull out that lime ice cream mix. All right, there we go. Now that this is locked, we have nothing but cheesecake mix coming in here. And once this gets all the way full, we'll be ready to move on to the next stage, which is filling our pie crusts with our cheesecake mix. All right, there is our cheesecake mix all done. I think I may have screwed up my counts a little bit here. I think I made enough for 4 stacks, not 3 stacks. but that's not a big problem for us at this particular juncture. We do need to go ahead and empty this back out. That's easy enough for us to do. We just pull these off, insert like so, and then we can pull back all of our fluids into those containers. Wonderful. That will work nicely for us. And then we can use these again for something else if we need to in the future. We'll just put these right over here. Okay, wonderful. So now we can grab back up our pie crusts and start making ourselves up some cheesecakes. So I'm going to do that right here in this little facility that I've set together here. We've got our cheesecake mitts, so let's go ahead and start pulling that into this container. There we go. And now we can literally just throw our pie crusts onto the depot, and that will make ourselves up a bunch of cheesecakes. All right, and there is all of our cheesecakes done, so we are ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so we take our uncooked cheesecake and we put it in here. That's actually a bug in the pack I need to fix. It should be cooked cheesecake to make this, but we're just gonna do it this way. It's gonna be fine. So that's gonna give us our strawberry cheesecake there. We will take our items from there automatically into our oak drawer here, and that's gonna give us a stack of our strawberry cheesecake in just a little while. So we're gonna let this go for a bit, and then we're gonna finish that off by doing the same with our sweet berry jam and our blueberry jam. And there we go. There is the last of our cheesecake, and that completes another quarter of our quest line here. Wonderful. And of course, these are a lot of work, so they sell for 2 iron coins each. Not too shabby. That almost makes up for all of the construction we did at the beginning of the episode. Well, with all of the cheesecakes done, we are ready to move on to our cakes and cookies and other delightful things. But that is gonna have to wait for next episode. This is going to be the end of this episode of Enterprise Architecture, so thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends!